Hello, and welcome to your screencast for the week. This week, we actually veered away from the financial side of um, our course. Our course that we used to call it real world math, and we used to do a lot more of the connections between, geometry and math and things that you could see in the real world. And we do a little unit on statistics. And so last week, as you know, we really kind of went away with the financial end of it. And this week, we spent a lot of time working with sampling. And we will get back more into the financial aspect of this course next week. So we've been sampling with our students all week, as you can see from all the materials I shared with you, and we did a two-part lab to finish off the week. And what you're looking at right now is my Google Classroom containing the directions for both parts. So what we do is we gave groups of students, groups of two, small pieces of paper, and we went around the room and stated our birthday. Like, my birthday is July 12th, so my number is 12. So each person says their number. So that gave us a list of, for me, 18 data values. Random numbers between 1 and 31. Some were repeated. And what we had them do was they had one written on each sheet, and they did their own sampling of averages of the data. So what we had them do is we had them do, go to my sheet, 20 trials of 5 samples. So what they would do is they would randomly pick 5 cards, keep the number, write the number, and we had them put a formula in to find the mean. Kids used different styles for sampling. Some, counted every fourth, or some just randomly threw them in the air, and what ones they saw they wrote down. Some, just were randomly shuffling them, picking 5, shuffling them, picking 5. We let them kind of figure it out and do it on their own. And so we could see, maybe we could talk about what their sampling technique was and how close their mean was to the actual mean. So we had them do that for 20 trials, 5 samples each, and they calculated the mean for each trial using the formula equals average for the cells we wanted to average. Then we had them come up with a formula equals average for all of their means to get their overall mean. And meanwhile, I had typed them all up on a separate sheet to come up with the actual mean. And so that basically is day one. We reveal the actual mean, and we look at how does our overall mean compare to the actual mean. And a lot of my students were very, very close. Our actual mean was 14.54. And most students were in like the 13.8 to 14.8 range. So I thought that was pretty close. We did have some that were like out there, 17, 10, but I don't know if that was a sampling technique issue or not. Anyway, so what we decided to do the next day was take a look at simulation and see if we simulated the samples instead of doing it ourselves by hand, if that would get us closer to the actual mean than our sampling by hand did. So what we started with the next day, what I did today was I pooled the room and had every group give their overall mean, and then I found our class average of the overall mean from our trials, and that actually was 14.56. So as a class, we were only 0.02 points away from the actual mean. So I thought that was pretty cool. I don't have the results. We'll compare them on Monday from today's for the sampling and see if we got any closer. I don't know how you get much closer than that. Okay, so I searched and searched and couldn't find a random sampler online that would allow me to have my numbers or my values be specific numbers. Like, there are tons of random samplers that will give you a number, any number between 1 and 100 randomly, but I wanted to input those numbers. Sorry, my screen's going dark. I wanted to input those numbers. I wanted, our list of numbers that were our birthdays. So I used a website that I recently was introduced to that actually is a really great website for randomly calling on students. The website is called Flippity, And if you Google Flippity or you go to flippity.net, you'll see the directions to do it. It's free, it's easy, you don't have to download anything. What you do is you make a copy of their template of their Google Sheet. And so this is my copy of it that I made for our class. So the template has names here. So instead of names, I just entered all our birth dates. So there's 12, that was me, 17, 14, 13, 6, 6. So this is just the list of my students' birthdays. Then what you do, so the way you do this, even if you're using this to pick names or to create a name spinner, which I'll show you, you have to publish, once you type your data in here on this tab, you have to publish it to the web. Really simply, you go File, Publish to the web. Now, I'm already published, but a dialog box will come up that will say Publish. You'll click that, and then this dialog box comes up. So you just need to X out of that, which I'm having trouble doing. There we go. Okay, once you've done that, then you can click on the second tab at the bottom, which you can't really see in my screen right now. I'm going to pause. Hold on. All right, sorry about that. I had to move my tab up a little bit. Okay, so here you can see there are two tabs. Once you've entered your data in and published it to the web, go to get the link here in this tab and just click on this link, and it creates a spinner for you. So you can randomly spin it and stop it to get your samples for your trial, you could do the single name where it gives you a number, gives you a different number, it just randomly gives you a number every time. You could do that for your trials. Or what actually works the best, the quickest, was if you click groups of 5. I told my students to ignore this because obviously we were a multiple of 5, so ignore this one and then just use these 5 values, these 5 values, and these 5 values. So some kids did that. Some kids actually did the spinner. Some did the lineup, and that's how we came up with the values for our trials. And so, you would do 1, 2, 3 for first 3 trials, change it up, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I did even have a student realize you could copy and paste the values into your Google Sheet. So what I had them do was that after we took our spreadsheet from yesterday and we copied and pasted these cells below it. So if you look at my blank part 2, these are where you would do your samples using the simulation. And this was what my completed part 2 looked like. So here was my trials from the first day. And I really didn't complete my trials from the second day, actually, but this would be completed. And then they answered the question, how does your overall mean from sampling using simulation compare to the overall mean when you sampled by hand and to the actual mean? So they turned these in. This was a graded assignment. It was our second lab for our stats unit. I haven't looked at them yet, though, and I haven't discussed it with them. So that will be part of what we do on Monday. But that was just what I wanted to share with you. Maybe you know of a different randomizer website that we could use that would be a little bit easier. But and also, just so you know, that Flippity website is a really cool way. It would look like this. It would just be names instead of numbers. So, you want to call on student spinner. Who am I going to call on? Bam. Click on it, and it stops. And that's who you call on. So, cool little website to share. That's all for this week. We are, like I said, this is it for statistics, and we're going to be getting into some math around the house and measurement on Monday. So have a great weekend. Bye.